since we are talking about wastewater, pollution, etc., like last year, I remember there were lots of floods. There were lots of floods in Ibadan, quite a few actually. I was even a victim of one. So with floods becoming more frequent, how can the ministry and the communities of Ibadan, how can we work together to manage the spread of environmental pathogens that may carry resistant pathogens, so that may carry resistant genes? Because we understand that the ministry itself is doing a whole lot of work to ensure that Ibadan is cleaner and healthier for the communities. But how can the ministry work with the communities, and how can we have this joint effort to combat this pollution that we're facing?
Thank you very much. Putting so much effort. Sometimes I used to look at her, she was going up and down, and then we tell her, come tomorrow, she will come. Come next week, she will come. She has really done a great job. Let's give her a very round of applause. Very round of applause. Thank you very much. So in response to that question, yes, I wanted to say that the Minister of Environment has put in so much effort in ensuring that our cities are clean. But then, we all have stakes to hold in this problem, in controlling this environmental pollution. When I was watching that video, I was touched. As an environmental health specialist, I was touched. I felt maybe we haven't done enough, but we will continue to do. Because there are a lot you can do to combat this pollution. And though the government has a lot, but then individuals also has what we must do. So let me quickly go to answer that question. From the community level, how can we work together to reduce this AMR we're talking about, antimicrobial-resistant pathogens? So let's address the source of these pathogens and nib it on the board. Now, let's go to the primary source of waste generation. We're talking of pharmaceutical waste. Now, when my brother was talking the other time, he mentioned that the end users, probably they're the ones that are really generating much of this pharmaceutical waste, am I right? Yeah. So from them, how can we control this waste, this pharmaceutical waste that are being generated? It made me to remember that oftentimes we have NAFDAC coming to our dump sites to destroy drugs, expired drugs, impounded drugs, with heavy drugs. So, but then, that is maybe from the producers, not the retailers. Not only now talk of the consumers. So I think that let us adopt one step in the process of waste management, and that is segregation of our waste. Okay. From our household, we generate different type of waste. So let's focus on, we have been talking about PET bottles. Everybody knows that you've got to separate your PET bottles because we're talking about circular economy, we're talking about waste to wealth. Putting that one aside now, let's focus on pharmaceutical waste where we have, that's the primary source of this antimicrobial-resistant pathogens. So, let's start from the Minister of Environment. We have bags made for the public. Don't sell it. We give it to NGOs that comes for it. We give it to communities, to give it to their residents, to segregate their waste. Probably they could just put a tag on it. So we can also do that from the community level, that my waste from drugs, these are the pharmaceutical waste, my paracetamol, the ones that are finished using or the one that has expired, every other thing we're using, there are drugs. Let's put them, let's store them separately in our homes. let's not give them to our regular waste contractors. What I meant by that is that we have scavengers. If you give this special waste, we can call them hazardous waste, even from our household. If you give them to these regular waste collectors and they take it to the dump, although some of our dumps, like we have 4 dump sites in Ibadan here. We have Ameko, we have Lakote, we have Awoton, that's in Lido, and we have one Ajakongas, Oliole local government. So we have sections for destruction of this special waste. But then before it gets to dump, what happens? That's the reality behind it. We have these waste pickers, these scavengers, they will just open the trash and start putting it side by side, using their hands, you know. Before you know it, they will say they want to scavenge this thing, you say they are special waste. So we can avoid that by not giving them the waste. Or better still, when the waste collectors collect them, they know that it has to be disposed of specially. And taking it to the dump site, it will be disposed specially too, because like I said, we have, like in Awoton, we have 6 cells where we destroy waste there. The type of waste disposal method we practice, you might imagine, it's not the engineered landfill that is the most appropriate waste management method we're talking about. So, but then, even at that, we have a system in place that can put the dump site under control and our waste under control without posing health hazards to members of the public, if it is being properly implemented. So we can dispose our pharmaceutical waste by segregation and giving it out to, we have medical waste collector aside from the general waste collector that parades the town, the city. So we don't expect that pharmaceutical waste should be given to our regular waste management waste collectors. So, but they should be given to this healthcare waste collector. We have them. We have PSPs, but the private sector participants that are working for consultants. So this medical waste consultant has waste collectors that specializes in collecting medical waste, healthcare waste, under which we have this pharmaceutical waste. But then we can help ourselves that at the grassroots, at household level, let us segregate our pharmaceutical waste, our drugs, from the general waste.